Hey everybody, this is Monkster, and I've been doing world updates for 4 months, but I haven't done a cohesive world tour. A lot of you might have not have seen all the other ones, so I figured I would show off everything I've done in the last 5 months of playing this world when I had the time, starting with my most recent addition. This is meant to be an Arctic or Antarctic research type base. I have a cell tower that flashes. I have a radio tower that also flashes. There are reset buttons located inside and on this platform. They're there because since beta is old, when you restart your world, like log on and log off, it will stop or freeze any redstone clocks currently running. So I have to manually restart these when I log on, but I think it's worth it. Just seeing this kind of isolated in a snowy wilderness or landscape, right? Despite it being so lonely. I don't know, it's interesting. I was inspired a lot of Antarctic bases I saw on Google Earth using Street View, or Arctic bases. I'll throw some pictures up now and you guys can see a comparison of what I mean. But these places are so far from civilization that where nothing grows except maybe lichen and moss. I think that's really neat. It's like they're playing out of bounds on Earth, so I wanted to recreate that feeling. If you notice, a lot of these bases have living structures that are on stilts, and I'm guessing is because the ground is difficult to drill into. So that's what this building is. It was the first one I built, and also the last one to be completed, because it hasn't yet been completed, but it's a work in progress. The next thing I'm really proud of is this vehicle. It's meant for traversing the snowy desert, right? It's got treads on it. I had an idea of how I wanted this to look because I thought I was referencing something I'd seen before, an Arctic vehicle meant for traversing the landscape. But when I went to go look for a reference image, there's nothing that exactly matches this. But I feel like it still turned out very well. The engine's in the back, the cab is in the front, the treads are on the sides. It's meant for traveling in the tundra. Wheels won't work because of the ice, so the treads grip into the snow in permafrost. It has lights, it's very detailed, and it comes in yellow. But inside this warehouse structure, I also have another one that comes in blue. I liked it so much I had to build another one. Little tool bench. This warehouse is a nice build. It's like a little bit of shelter. I used pistons to create the garage door, which I think turned out very well. There's not a lot of textures in beta, so I like to utilize everything to my advantage. Little trash bin. If you go up into the loft, as most warehouses have a loft or a mezzanine, you have storage. I have crates. I like using this mix of blocks, chests, crafting tables, wooden planks with trapdoors around them because it looks like crates and storage. So I decided to use that. In here, I just have a temporary storage chamber and a mine. Nothing fancy, but I was running out of materials to build with out here. That's everything out here, except for this shipping container. And this was heavily inspired by a build that one of the members in my Discord server made, and I liked it a lot, so I kept it in mind. This is supposed to be a Maersk shipping container. There's the Maersk logo and the Maersk name. It's a little bit bad resolution, but what can you do? I think this turned out very well. But there's one secret that I want to show off. If you walk here, something happens. A door opens in the left and closes automatically. And there's nothing here yet, but I have plans to expand this into an almost bunker-like system. To exit, you press the button and press it again when you want it to close. You might be curious how I got this to work. This is a backup, so I don't mind tearing it apart, but I use a mechanism called bud blocks. And I'll tear this apart a little bit. This piston is being quasi-connected to this redstone dust. It's not powering quite until you update a block near it. Redstone ore, when walked upon, lights up and emits particles. So that's considered as a block update. Now when I stand on it, even when there's a snow layer over it, it updates that piston, which sets off a chain of events, opening this door. When this turns off, which is a random interval between when it turns on and turns off, by that I mean the redstone ore, it'll update the piston again, shutting the door. So it's a nice timer as well. I had to piston this redstone ore all the way up from the bottom of the world in my mine. It was really tedious, but I think definitely worth it. It's seamless. You can't see it at all. There'd be no way to know. It's perfect, and I think that the bud technology is really cool. It was utilized a lot in older days because it was a bug. Since pistons technically count as 2 blocks, there's some funky stuff going on in the code where the game tries to decide where it can be receiving a power source. That's the best that I understand it, but I was never an engineer back in the day. Coming through this area, this is my largest project. It's a beta castle that I've actually been working on for months because I've been building this all up and tearing it down several times. But I have a design that I like. Now I need to complete the other side of it because this is all that it is, this front facade. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to work on it. So it just kind of sits here along with a lot of other projects. I also easily get distracted, but I tried utilizing gradients that people use in the modern version in beta to kind of create a flow here. And I think it turned out very well. I really especially like these corner towers. Now the back side has been a lot of land I'm clearing out in preparation of finishing these walls and building a castle here. I'll climb up this tower and give you all a better view. There we go. Here's how much I've cleared out. I divided the land into sections first so I could easily track my progress. But it is very tedious and I get distracted in wanting to try new things. So, that being said, I also don't have a lot of time in my day to work on this sort of thing. Along with using pickaxes, I've used TNT, and I have some clips of me blowing stuff up because it's satisfying that I've saved in order to show you guys. That definitely wasn't worth it. Now this build was actually heavily inspired from the last block. If you've ever seen his videos, he has sprawling castle walls that go all throughout his world. And I thought I wanted something similar, something really imposing in my world to show that I'm in business, and that sort of thing. Back here at the bottom, I have some redstone experiments here. These are block transmutation machines. My friend Boxblair has tutorial on how to build these, but what they do is they turn one block into another. I'll show a clip of me doing that here. Smooth stone is not available to craft in this game. It's not meant to be in the game. They're also called crash slabs because when you hover your mouse over them, the game will crash because it doesn't have a name, technically. But I digress. Here is a model showing how the redstone ore trigger works. When it turns on, it updates this piston. When it turns off, it updates it again and cuts off this power, which then goes to this flip-flop. You see it's on the left side. Once toggled, it switches to the right. Once it receives another pulse from the update, it'll go back to the left. And that's how I create the timer system. A fun fact, these block transmutation devices work with any block that shares an ID. This includes wood and wool. And it's also directional. The block that you get depends on the direction that you're facing. Facing this way I get smooth stone, but that way I might get sandstone slabs, and this way I might get cobblestone slabs. Now this is my first structure I ever built in this world. It's my house. Clearly, I still use it. Those are the smooth stone I've been talking about. I like having long hallways as well. And here's my bedroom. I have lots of music discs. These are from pink sheep that I found and killed. Each one represents a pink sheep and how much wool I got from it. I have 2 dogs that are useless and do nothing. Upstairs here is a nice living room. I really like how this turned out. I really feel like this channels the old beta vibe. I have a chandelier, I have paintings, a fireplace with safe fire, a table, a great big window for viewing outside. There's not a lot to look at, unfortunately. A kitchen area. I ran out of storage downstairs, so I threw a bunch of minecart tracks and minecarts in here because I hoped that later I would be able to build some minecart trails to different parts of the world. Classic fridge design. Oh yeah, and out here, a balcony, which you can see a little better from. Now let's go downstairs. This is the room I most frequent. It's my study and also my storage room. It also has a fireplace. I kind of sort out my blocks in certain ways. I try to keep everything sorted. I feel like that's the key to success a lot of the time. It's not as needed in beta, but it's also easier to do in beta because it has so much less items than the modern versions. I have a lot of clay. Clay is no easy thing to get. I've traveled tens of thousands of blocks getting all this clay. I have died in lava more than once with about 9 stacks of clay each time that I'm very disappointed about, but still, I'm proud of this collection that I have and probably will use it eventually. It's a nice tone. Miscellaneous items, I went on a bender and created a ton of sticky pistons because I have a slime farm downstairs. Nothing special on these. I don't keep a lot of resources around, except if you notice this lever leads me to an underground bunker where I have mass storage for clearing out that land behind the castle. Those ones are empty. Down here is a mine, and I'll head down this way. This blue wool signifies the best level to find lapis, which is Y17. Y12 is the best level to find diamonds, but I started my strip mine at bedrock because I wanted to have this cool bedrock glass floor. I think that's really neat. I haven't used it a lot though, to be honest. Caving, I think, is far superior to strip mining. This is a slime farm. I have all the slime I really need, so I haven't bothered to optimize it. Lots of them spawn. There's always some down here when I get here. Alright, sorry, I took a quick break to put some tea on the kettle. Now, if we continue down this hallway, there's been an area that I have been mining out and clearing. Up this way, not much here, just a mine. I was kind of hoping I could slowly clear out these big columns here, but once again I got distracted with a new project. Now, what I've been mining all this stone away for was prior to me needing to clear out land behind my castle, which provides all the stone I need today. I was working on a nether structure, and I'll show you in a second. And on this side of the portal is a smelting room. You can cook like 2 stacks of items with 1 bucket of lava, and 3 iron to make a bucket, and near limitless lava, I think, is a cheap price to pay. So, you'll see already in the corner here what I was doing with all that stone that I was mining. I was working on this nether base. It's shaped like an octagon. Each corner is a tower. In between you have arches with lava flowing out. I used clay as an accent. I mostly stuck with stone because it was ghast proof, but I needed a slightly lighter block, but not as light as these stone slabs. And those are also furnaces up there, which I think turned out really good. So, it's a work in progress, and by work in progress, I mean I haven't touched it in a month because I keep moving around from thing to thing. I just have so many ideas. I get excited about the game and I can't focus, but here's what the inside looks like. I fell in here in lava more than once. The idea was to have an outside ring with minecart tracks going through these holes and then a tower in the center. But I never even finished the outside ring. But maybe one day. Now, there's a few more places in the Nether I'd like to show off. I have a decent portal network. That portal in there goes to the mine, but that one on top goes to the surface of the same town. So I'll skip ahead till I get up there. Also, my tea's done. I'm drinking black butterscotch tea. Now, there's not actually butterscotch in it. It's a black tea that has green tea in it with sunflower, and it's a little reminiscent of butterscotch. So it's really good. It's relaxing, and I'm a big tea guy. If you're in the Discord server, I'm posting the tea I just brewed all the time, so I don't know. Here's some quick defense systems against ghasts that I threw up, and I'm in peaceful for the purpose of the world tour. Now, we come out. This building is a church/tower. This is meant to be stained glass. No, stained glass isn't in the game yet. Not in beta 1.7.3. But, I don't know, I thought I'd be a little creative. And a gold bell, which when at the time of building this was a little bit of a splurge, but here's the town, the castle, and the railway, all from the top of this church. I bet I can make this jump. Oh yeah, if you can see, I have a little bit of smoke coming out of the chimney there. Alright, so let's start back at the town. This is East Mong Station, named after yours truly. I actually really like this. It's kind of like some modern train stations in real life with these kind of architectural hoops. And it takes me to a spider spawner. This is a spider spawner design I came up with. I later revised it for the purposes of a tutorial, which ended up being faster, but it still serves me pretty well. A lot of people have used it and found it helpful, so that makes me happy. And I think that looks awesome, man. That looks freaking awesome. Alright, now exiting East Mong Station. This building here, very detailed, very expensive, especially the trapdoors and signs, is a cactus farm. I'm going to avoid that. But I stacked up cactus, put signs between them so they would break when they grow, and I have plenty to work with. Also, custom trees, because they're fun. Here's one of the nicer houses. There's nothing upstairs except a sand duper, which I vowed to never use again because I thought it was too cheaty. So it just sits up here abandoned. Here's the town center, a nice fountain. And this is the second building I ever built. It's the town hall. Here's the front desk. The upstairs with some paintings. And then up here, which just shows the back of the clock. Not much going on in here, but I figured I needed to do the interior. And that is meant to be a clock. An apartment building. I like how it turned out on the inside. Maybe not so much on the outside, but... Apartment under the stairwell. Upstairs. There's actually no more rooms. It's a one-room apartment or condo. And there's nothing in the attic, so... This one is a new skyscraper I meant to work on, but I haven't gotten around to it. I went and collected the resources for it, just been distracted with the Arctic research base. But this here is a skyscraper slash condo inspired by real life, a building I saw. And what you enter here, it's the lobby. I don't have anything to pay the dog with. I'll go get a bone. Got our bone. And the door opens. You don't have to use a bone, but it's, I don't know, it's part of the fun. Imagination, a little bit, is a big part of playing in the older versions, I think. Now this is just a living area. Upstairs is a kitchen, and I planted one mushroom in here, and it got way out of control, as you can see. Mushrooms spread like crazy in beta, but I really like this kitchen. The pistons serve as a tabletop. I think that looks pretty good. And a high top chair. All right, out we go. Now that's this whole town, and the sun is starting to rise here. I have some farms and experiments off in the wild here that I use to make the tutorial videos, but I feel like that isn't a necessary thing to be shown. But the next stop here is going to take us to the Nether. Alright, now, I like this view of this octagon here. I think that looks pretty cool. And the whole Nether just looks really interesting. There's no fancy biomes in this version. There's also not a lot to go here for except for the transportation and glowstone. It's a completely different feel. And I like that. I'm not opposed to the modern Nether. I thought the Nether update was amazing. But I still like the vibe that this old Nether has. Now, let me speed down here. Alright, here is when I was clay hunting and I made an outpost and a beacon. I built an outpost out here, but I found some good land to build on. I'm not going to bother going over there. It's pretty simple. It's just a shack to stay the night. But over here you'll see these strange houses. Now if they look eerily familiar, that's because prior to the adventure update, this is what villages were slated to look like in 1.8 beta. Now, they were scrapped in favor of Jeb's design. I like to think about what the game had been like had Notch decided to add these instead. They were abandoned, they had a lot of moss stone, very simplistic design, and empty. They're also pretty creepy, honestly. Check this out when I turn the fog all the way down. Very spooky. I really like the vibe that this has though. Just imagine walking in your world, there's no structures, and then you happen upon one of these abandoned villages. You don't know the story, you don't know who built it, you don't know who lived here, but they're just there. And it's a strange feeling of loneliness. The lack of a narrative is something that I genuinely appreciate. Now, as you all know, the modern version has a multitude of structures, each that tells a more specific story, which is nice. But here, in this version, there is no narrative. It's whatever you make it. And it's very simple. And I like that. These houses were really expensive to build. Moss stone is only found in dungeons. That is it. You can't craft it. Alright. Now I'll head back. Okay, so we are bypassing the portal back to the main town in favor of this portal down here. Now, a fun fact about my world, there was at one point a lava flow out this wall, and I was walking towards this portal over the cliff, didn't think it was a big deal, fell in the lava, lost 10 stacks of clay blocks. That was a hard day, but I kept going. Alright, we've arrived at Castle Von Spawn. This is a small castle complex that I thoroughly enjoyed building. I really tried to stick to a simplistic style instead of my more complicated builds. The castle was taking a lot out of me back at the main town because of all the detail I had to put into it. So I thought I'd make something that was simple and fun to build. So, this is the Nether Tower, and this is the Zen Garden. You can sit here and watch the pond, maybe go fishing. Long hallways, as always. You can go up and over, or down, through. There's an area where you can enjoy the day on a lawn chair underneath the awning. Through here is just a small storage area. The mining was really good around here, but I moved it to my main base. Upstairs is a bedroom. Through here is a skeleton farm, and up on top, you really don't have much of a view, but it is the largest tower. It's mostly aesthetic. The windows aren't too big, but you can see pretty far. And here's a wheat farm that I've been harvesting a little bit of with a scarecrow that has no name. I'm using the trick where there is fence posts underneath, which means you can't trample it by walking on them, which is a real problem in beta. Just walking on cropland will cause you to trample the crops, and that's especially annoying with animals and mobs. Now, this here is the center of the world, so if you died without a bed, you'd come here, which is why I made Castle Von Spawn. I think it looks pretty nice from the outside. There's the sunset. The gravel shores of the opposite side of the lake and tundra. Now if we turn around, we can, the boat has its own ideas. If we turn around, we can get a better look at Castle Von Spawn. I like how this turned out. It's the original beta style. But this way is where we want to go. And I'll speed this part up for you guys. I really need to build a canal through here because there's more lake on the other side. And thankfully, I have left a boat over here. Okay, and as we come through here, we'll see what I'm about to show you in just a second. There it is. It's the fishing village, the unnamed fishing village that I could never decide a name for. But man, I love the approach to this thing. It looks so freaking cool, dude. I'm really proud of this. And this boat mechanism locks these boats in place. Because if you don't do that, they'll get disturbed by mobs eventually and get pushed away. But once you use the pistons, it pushes them up, and they're technically on land, which means they don't really get pushed around. But here's the unnamed village. Here's a ship that's docked here. Not much going on below or on top. We can get a good view from the mast. There is no crow's nest because I couldn't fit one, but there's an overview of the town. The grass roofs. That was a little bit difficult because grass, needs to spread, but it was worth it, I think. Through here is the central building. It serves no purpose, but it's the only thing on a solid foundation, and it has a cherry tree in the center, and I like that. This here is the first house I ever built. It started as an outpost that I made when I was searching for clay, but I liked this area so much I had to come back and expand on the idea I had with this first house. What makes this place unique is that it was a completely flat island. No terrain change at all, completely flat, pretty large too, featureless. So I had an idea of making a fishing village around it. And the center here, everything's kind of swampy looking. I think that looks pretty cool. And I like this donut in the center. That's the second thing I ever built here. All these house designs are unique except for 2 or 3, which I copied over. This one might be my favorite because it utilizes a lot of space. The interiors aren't done. That's one of the issues. Oh, you know what? No, I changed my mind. This is my favorite because rule of thirds, right? It's not symmetrical, but it still looks good, I think. There's a lot of unique houses here, and I like that. I'll do a little bit more of a walk around. The insides are all empty. And so that is the end of my world tour. I have various outposts that I've put all over the world, and I can show those screenshots of them now. I'm not going to venture all the way out to see them, but you'll get the idea. And the reason this was a world tour and not a world update like I have been doing the 10th of every month is because I'm planning on taking a break from this world. Not just because Tears of the Kingdom is coming out and I pre-ordered it, but because I have other prospects to work on. The Back to Beta SMP is going to be coming out soon. It's a large collaboration with 7 YouTubers, myself included in that count. It's very exciting and a lot of fun. So that'll be coming out soon. Also, I think I want to try other versions. The deep dive into Minecraft Beta 1.7.3 has been great, but I'll be doing that on the server now. And in my free time, I might want to try other ones. I've been really thinking about Alpha and InDev lately. So you might see a video of me playing that in the future. But for now, there's a world download in the description for all of you who want to check things out for yourself. And I've been Monster. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys later.